Welcome to another episode of A Regenerative Future. My name is Chris Hovde, and in every episode, I invite inspiring guests who all have in common that they inspire us in moving beyond reducing the minuses of the world and on to creating as many pluses as possible. That's what the regenerative future is all about. Today's guest is Tove Selnes, which is the Chief People Officer in Storebrand, and they recently got awarded as the world's second best company on gender equality. Just listen to that phrase. So who better to talk to in this setting of Women's Day and about the importance of gender equality and diversity? I really look forward to talk to today's guest. So it's just to say welcome, Tove.
Thanks a lot. It's great to be here, Chris.
And what an introduction! It's lot of interesting to dig deep into, and a lot I think to be inspired of from the listeners here today.
Yeah.
But before we dig into all the amazing stuff that you are doing at Storebrand, and you do a lot that inspire me at least, and hopefully all the listeners then eventually. Uh, where did all of this engagement around both kind of a better world for people, equality for all, and you're also a lot into digitalization and creating a better world through a lot of initiatives in that space. Where did that start from for you?
I think I'm inspired by my childhood and my family. So my mother has been, focusing on changing the world, being first a politician in the local, and also having a father who took more responsibility at home. Now it sounds like it's pretty normal, but back
Yeah.
then he was a colonel in the military, but still he was the one following up the children, making dinner every day, being kind of the nurse in the family if there was some injuries or something, really being a caring man, and at the same time a leader in the army. So I think having a little different upbringing from when I was a child has inspired me. And my mother always celebrated Women's Day. I came with her going to also demonstrations back then, fighting for women's rights that were different then in Norway, but problems that we see now many places in the world. And I think the belief in together we can do so much, but we need to talk about it, and not only talk about it, but do changes. So yeah, that's at least some of my inspiration and all the jobs that I've had since. When you understand, the purpose that this company can help fulfilling, then it's really, at least for me, becomes inspiring. We need to go to do so much more than a job. We spend so much time working, and it's important for us not only to earn money to live a good life, but also to be part of, making a small change in the world.
Absolutely. And I think it resonates a lot with that they usually say it starts with equality in the home, and that you saw your parents shared kind of the chores at home as well. That's a good start. What would you say to those who might not have kind of gotten inspired or have the same role models at home? How can they kind of change their view on the world and find some spark or engagement for this?
Mm. I think, I used to talk that our experience from the childhood or from ever is like a rucksack. And there you have something that you want to bring with you, and you have something that you want to change. And actually, whatever we have there, you can choose to make it different or to follow an example. But we can all learn from it. And I think what admires me about people is that we are so adaptable to change, and we are so easy to inspire if we only take time to listen to people around us, or listen even to nature, or so we can be inspired by so much, I think.
Absolutely. And enough inspiration and motivation and engagement, it seems, at least, that you have a lot of in all the exciting roles you have had, and all the kind of areas in your life that you make a change upon, and you're quite visible a lot of places. Kind of, what's your ups and downs if we talk about more gender equality on your career path, and kind of the steps that you have been taking? And I guess it's not always easy being kind of a top executive and being female. Or have you experienced it just like a ride in the park? That can also be some instances.
Yes. No, I think for me, it's something about meeting person one to one. It's you always find some connection and some understanding and some common ground. But it's when you feel that you are one and there is a group of someone who are alike. So I think to break through that in some good way has been the key for me, at least. And then to find some common ground with someone, to find someone that inspires you, or you can steam off a bit when you've had some fights you didn't win, or that you didn't come through with your thoughts, for instance. So I think that's at least how I have been working, and always to find someone that you can be inspired by. And I've always tried to hire people that are smarter than me, that are passionate about the things that I quite don't understand or I want to learn more about. And one of my first managers, when I was 29, I was a manager in Avinor. And my manager then, he was, I think, 64 or something. And he impressed me because he was really, he wanted to learn something. He was curious. He thought every new person he met was an opportunity to learn something. And I remember then I thought, oh, if I'm like that when I'm growing older, that's the source to the youth, or the source to vitality, because there are so many smart people, and there are people that you maybe don't understand from the first glimpse. And actually, with him, I thought it was, I could never connect with him. I thought when I started working with him, but I got to know that he read a lot of books. So I started reading the same books so that we could have something to talk about. And then, starting to learn to know him better, I really learned so much from him. But if I had, reacted upon my bias about him being twice as old as me, totally different upbringing, totally different education, but trying to go beyond that. At least
Yeah.
that was inspiring for me. Mm.
I think that's a great practical tip, and we talk a lot about that on many different arenas. Go beyond the first impression, and then actually take time to dig deep and find the commonalities, and be more aware of trying to find those instead of looking at the differences, because the commonalities is usually more than the differences. So I
Mm.
love that. And it's a practical tips. Ask what the person is interested in and deep dive a bit in that, so we have something to talk about
Mm.
and connect one to one. I think that's a brilliant tip. Because we tend to stick on, no, we're not alike, I can't be with that person.
Yeah.
So that's a really, really good tip. But we must come to the kind of juice in the introduction then. Like,
Yeah.
you're awarded the second best company in the world when it comes to gender equality.
Mm.
And I see most companies around the world is saying that they believe in gender equality and saying that they will do a lot, but are
Mm.
not necessarily, at least on the numbers, showing that they're actually putting in the efforts that's needed.
Mm.
But you can actually prove it both with numbers and actions, but also with this kind of ranking and award, that you're really, really putting in the efforts.
Mm.
What do you think kind of, or what have you done differently that actually moves the needle compared to all those others who put in amount of efforts but not moving the needle at all?
Mm. No, so there is no kind of one silver bullet. I think, really working on a broad perspective. But actually the reporting has been kind of a game changer, because reports is something the board understands, the CEO, the CFO. So really, working on reporting, following up a broad perspective of KPIs. And then, so I used to talk about that there are two important ways of doing this. It's the structure and the culture. And the structure, it's really, really need to put your effort into that. It's reporting, it's following up the numbers, and it's really, following up when the needle is going in the wrong direction, because when you look away, majority will increase. And that is, I think, the why this is not done in a year or two. It's you need to work over time, because majority people will hire people who are look the same or are the same, if there is no structure, or if there is not a conscious focus on working against the biases, because
Mm.
biases are psychological. It's natural for people to try to group and to try to be among those who are the same. And that we need to work against, because we get so much more from being together with people who are different from ourselves.
Yeah.
So to get kind of uh, yeah, to have not just one minority and one majority, but to increase the minority and be more equal. It's good for everyone. Uh,
Mm.
so working on the structure there, counting, following up, and then to work on a lot of different topics like psychological safety, that brings out the inclusion in the diversity, and make the best out of that. And then it's a lot about recruiting, thinking about when can we make a difference? When can we make minority bigger? Yeah, it's when you hire, it's when you promote, it's when you nominate people for development or leadership training and so on. So it's actually been a broad work for so long. And having also a CEO who have really tried to understand, both the theory and the practice in why equality is important, what we can earn from diversity, and also pushing on so many buttons. It's of how can this actually be more, better for the company results. And together with
Mm.
the PwC and CARE, back in 2019, we did a survey where we actually looked at the companies in the Nordics, looking at what they say about more diversity in the board and in the executive management. Does it show on the results? And the conclusion in that report is that yes, it's actually more steady growth in results in companies that are more diverse in the management, and that bringing both women and men into the executive team shows that there is women tend to be a little bit less risk averse, but there are more innovation, and that there is more kind of open thinking in a group that's more diverse. So you
Mm.
see that over time it's better result, less volatility, but better. Mm.
And I think many people are now eventually highly aware that diversity is the best business case ever. Uh, and you're talking about it as it's like, yeah, it's just to do like this and then you get the results. But most of us also know about the solutions. But why do you think still so many companies struggles to get it right? And you're in a bit kind of traditional industry even, and even there you have managed to be better than others. So I think you must be extra brilliant in your company. So what is the advices you can give others that are struggling a bit?
Hmm. No, so I think we also still have areas to fix. But so it's not that we are perfect, it's an ongoing task. But I think we have yeah, we have really moved the needle when it comes to understanding that it's important, and understanding that it's not, so it is fair to be 50-50. So we have all the targets are 50-50, no 60-40. It's
Mm.
no, we are approximately 50% women and 50% men in the world. So, it should be a 50-50 approach. We see that education and intelligence and everything. So that is what's fair. And especially, I think also what has been a help is that it's hard to find good people, and it's a fight about talent. So we should look at in the whole talent pool, not only in the majority. So it's a lot of good arguments when you can talk about money and show that it's kicking the result in the right direction, but also when you can talk to top managers, and I think for some of them, when they have daughters going into the industry or going into work life, they want to make a change so that their daughters won't experience the way it has been through their career. So there is,
Mm.
I think, not one answer, but many different,
Yeah.
and also it's so important that we don't start to talk about now it's all about the women, but not about the men. It should become better for everyone. It should be fair. It should be based on competence. We should, work and understand about the biases that are unfair, because that's the way to do it. So, and also a lot of, I think, science-based targets and
Mm.
understanding, what effects play when we do make decisions and so forth. And we had the 8th of March arrangement here today, and my CEO, said on stage that, I've been working in teams with only men or with me being one man and all the women, and it's so much more fun when there is a mix, and
Mm.
we challenge each other in a better way, and so a good mix is always better, even though it can be hard work, but friction and different perspectives, if we get through that, typically you will get better innovation, you will mirror your customers in a better way. So, yeah.
Yeah. Great, and I usually say friction makes magic. So I totally believe in that. That's where the kind of good new solution comes. And I think when we ask these things, we always look for a silver bullet. Can't you just give us the answer how it's done? But I think some elements that you touch upon is like really anchoring it and the importance both in the organization and at the top, then making sure that you are actually tying it to your organizational goals and reporting, so it's actually going to be done. And then also that you kind of take it really seriously, because it can be a kind of speech at all staff on a yearly basis, or you can actually show it. And then eventually, I think you say, at least I interpret that, it takes a lot of hard work. So
Yeah.
it's also a bit of the just doing it and not wait for a new report or a new solution or the silver bullet. Just kind of pick it up and pick up the ball and do it on many different arenas, and you
Mm,
will soon see results. I
I
think
thought.
that's, yeah. And then I would like to tap into a bit of, we talk about equality for all, diversity, and also being a bit flexible and living in the world of technology, which also enables more diverse people, more diverse life forms, life situation. I know that you have been quite a front runner also in hybrid ways of working, flexibility. You say people first, digital always. There's a lot of interesting things there. What are you doing to really create a great workplace for your people, which is flexible and adapted for many different people? Then.
Mm. No, we really, we learned so much through the pandemic, and we decided very early on that we should use this as a kind of, testing arena, test out different pilots, find out, how we can work in a hybrid way, on a fully digital way. And actually, I'm sitting in one of the examples now. We have, through the pandemic, we established two very professional studios. This is the little studio in the reception area, and then we have a full flex studio. We saw that a lot of the all hands meetings and so on, it's so good to do through a professional studio, having a team helping us building those kind of events in a good way, also with customers and webinars, etc. So really taking advantage and lifting the bar on making good digital solutions. But also we've seen that when we were able to come back to the office, we had done changes, and we've seen that we want the office to be core. And now we have, trained the managers in, planning what kind of meeting is this. Is it digital? Is it hybrid? What rules do we have when we do it hybrid? Hybrid, I think it's the most difficult when there are some digital and some in a meeting. And we've learned, that everyone needs to have the laptop on with the camera. You have to be very strict in following so that the people who are digital don't feel that they're looking at the meeting, but really, participating in the meeting. So we have, worked a lot on those areas, but I think maybe the key to success have been that we have had, cooperation with SINTEF, really looking on to research what are the best solutions. How do we gain, both the need for flexibility and the demand for flexibility, but at the same time also the need for coordination and being at the workplace or really helping out building good teams. So we established a canvas with different questions, and all teams, they have agreed on what is our way of working, what meetings are physical, how do we work through the week, when do we do check-ins. And then in that canvas there was a question: how do you change the routine when you get a new team member? Because what we saw is that you need to be more together physically, or at least more, more together when you get a new team member or you start a new project. So what we see when we measure this, because we follow this together with the SINTEF, is that our people, they love our way of working because there is no one way of working. All the teams have found a good balance between individual needs, team needs, customer needs, and organizational needs. And when you feel that you have been you have been involved in deciding how to work, that has been the key to success, because then you understand it, you are loyal to it. And so we have no decision about how many days in the office, but we have said that in Storebrand we believe in dilemmas over rules. We believe that there are smart people that find the best solutions together, and that we believe in the office as a core because we need some time together in physical space. So yeah, long answer, but a lot of thoughts behind it.
Yeah, and I love that. And I think to me, that's the only right answer. We have also kind of taken this balanced approach. We still need the great meeting places, great offices, and keep them up to date and relevant and fresh and fitted for everybody. But also, as you say, empowering the people to individually, with their teams, see what's best for this group of people. And when we regroup, maybe there's another solution. So making it a bit flexible and adapted to how we evolve. And that's a part of the regenerative principles as well. So I like that, and not one size fits all. I think the discussion too many times goes to the polarities, office or digital. The world isn't either black or white. It's all about the in-betweens. But then we talk about the digital space, and some advices you say up your digital game, create some studios, and take the opportunity. But an opportunity that is here present at this moment is a lot of AI in business. And I can see we have already started to pilot AI for everyone and integrate it in Teams and in all our digital tools and getting assistance and so on. What's the AI application in Storebrand, and what do you see kind of in the future in the people and in digital space?
Mm. No, so early on we decided that we really need to work on AI in kind of two approaches. It's the kind of innovative approach, which is, you know, what AI solutions for our customers or, you know, in the system. And there, you know, we have a task force working together across different areas to find, you know, new good solutions. For instance, we use AI for fraud detection within insurance or to follow good ways. Yeah. So that is one part, but the other we have called AI adoption, and we really wanted to kick off so that everyone in Storebrand could have a look at, you know, what is AI? How could it help me? How could it help my team? So we started to have AI champions to really detect what are important in the sales area or in the customer center or in between the lawyers or the leaders. What do they need? Because we see also here, it's not one size fits all, but what's important is that we really, you know, kick that learning focus, the focus of piloting and learning. And so I think it was in the start of September, we had this employee day where we focus on learning and development. And the topic was AI. And we had two targets for that day. One was to have a lot of our colleagues on stage showing how we have been using AI for some time already, what solutions there are. And the other topic was everyone to test, start testing, learning, be it ChatGPT and Copilot and so forth. So we're still working on it, and I think there are a lot of people that you know, are testing a lot and learning a lot, and there are some that are still a bit reluctant. But at least everyone know what it is, have, you know, tried to use it at work, and I think yeah, some closer to summer, everyone will be even more. So it's happening week by week now, and
Yeah.
it's very interesting. For instance, how many chatbots should we make in the company? And in the autumn, we decided that there will become this will become mainstream. So we stopped chatbot production in some areas and rather wait. And now you see that in Copilot you can set up a bot so
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
And so now, so it's something about testing and learning and maybe waiting a little bit for more off the shelf
Absolutely. Yeah.
solutioning.
And I remember just like, oh, the new thing is a chatbot trainer. And like, it was almost like the mini disc. It came faster than it fell down. And I think a manual way of pretending that technology is smart is never a sustainable way over time. Um, since I said sustainable over time, I also know that you do a lot in the sustainability space and also do a lot more than many others. What's the kind of most important things that you see that Storebrand is contributing when it comes to creating better societies and a greener world, basically, which also connected to the regenerative space?
Yeah. So the most important we do within the ESG or the sustainability space is what we do through our asset management. So we have 1,200 billion kroner under asset under management worldwide. And we have big sustainable analytics teams within the asset management evaluating which company to invest in. So when it comes to the ESG, we focus on three things. So it's active ownership, really, making companies do the right choices and have both a green agenda but also ESG agenda. And if they don't follow up, then we exclude. So exclusion is also one of the three ways of following up. And then the third way is actually investing in the really solution companies. So the green tech or the solution companies. And today on stage in our Women's Day event, we had the portfolio manager for equal opportunities. Equal opportunities is a fund investing in companies that make sure people get equal opportunity in the world, especially focusing on developing countries and so forth. And it's really cool to see that that is, a growing business. So it's both, good for your wallet, investing in those companies, and it's making a big change in the world.
And I think that's also something we can take back to, on a personal level. How do you invest your money? I even use that kind of sentence when I go to the grocery store. Which company do I actually buy an apple from now? Or like any other merchandise. That's an investment in that company and making that grow compared to another one that maybe harm the world as well. So good advice. We're getting to a close of today. And I would end like on a personal note. We started a bit on where your engagement come from, and something that's really relevant, at least in the public discussion at the moment, is a radical saying, you can say, that women who have kids should never take upon themselves a board assignment. And I know you are active in many boards and have been for many, many years. What's your personal stand to women or any person taking upon a board assignment and encouraging more to do so?
Yeah. No, I really feel that being on the board is a big responsibility, but I don't think any part of my work life has been so planned as being on the board. You know when the board meetings are, you get the papers in time and so on. So it's really hard to, no, it's really easy to plan for going to those meetings and preparing for those meetings. In your everyday work, it's harder to plan in the same way. And I think the discussion is really wrong. I mean, people can get sick and have to step out of boards and have too much on their plate. But my experience is that it's challenging, it's good for your career, and it's good for the perspective to have different perspective. And then
Mm.
plan around it. Of course, you cannot go to a board meeting if you are giving birth, but you cannot go to if you have an operation either. So it's a little bit that one has to skip one board meeting can happen to anyone. People
Mm.
get cancer, need treatment, or they can. There can be many good reasons not to go, but having children in is not part of not being able to take on a board position. But everyone needs to think about your whole life and what you can take on.
Yeah, but I think that's a good kind of summary of board positions. I also have never thought about that, but the both the boards I chair and are a member in is the most planned things and predictable things that I'm a part of. Everything else changes all the time, so it's challenging role, of course, and should be taken seriously. But they are quite predictable, so you should be, most people are able to plan around them or kind of plan to be in them.
Yeah.
So we encourage, I think anonymously, if you get the opportunity or also seek the opportunities, don't let that hinder you. Just try it out, and everybody can miss a board meeting here and there.
Mm.
So I think that's a great encouragement here at the end. I would say, Tove, it was such a pleasure and maybe a bit extra special to talk to you today in the day I like to call the day for equality for all, because as you said, it's all about lifting everybody up on the same level and we have room for everybody.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And also, of course, a big thank you to all the listeners of the videocast A Regenerative Future, where we, as always, invite inspiring guests who all contribute to create as many pluses as possible so we all can live thriving lives in what we like to call here a regenerative future. Thank you, and until next time, see you and goodbye.